Welcome to OrthoVision's installation video tutorial. To begin, make sure you first extracted the OrthoVision zip file which you've downloaded. To do this, simply right-click on the file and click Extract All. I've already gone ahead and extracted this file ahead of time, so if we open it up here, we'll find that the OrthoVision setup folder is inside. Once in there, we can double-click on Setup to begin. In this setup dialog, you'll see that 4 clients need to be installed to complete the installation of OrthoVision. Certain options will not be selectable depending on the step in the installation process. I'll begin by showing you how to install Microsoft SQL Server 2005, particularly because it's not a standard installation, whereas the .NET Framework 3.5 is. Now, because I have Microsoft SQL Server already installed on this computer, I can't select it through the setup dialog, but I've had it already open, so I'll bring it up the screen here and begin. As with most Microsoft setups, the first step before installation is agreeing to an end-user agreement, and then you can click on the installation button. We'll fast forward through the installation process here and move on to the next step. So after a brief system configuration check, you'll see a new dialog come up shortly, which will start off with yet another systems configuration check. Basically, you can continue to click Next and follow the standard setup procedure up to a particular point. You can fill out your company and your name here. And this is particularly where you need to change something. You need to make sure that under Client Components, you click on the entire feature will be installed on the local hard drive before you continue. You'll see that the icons are all switched to little hard drive icons, and then you can click Next. On the next screen, you can name your instance of your server. It really doesn't matter either way. And from here in, I'll start using screenshots, particularly because my setup dialog is different since I already had the program installed. In the first Authentication Mode dialog, make sure you select Windows Authentication Mode and then click Next. In the next dialog, make sure you have Enable User Instances and Add User to the SQL Server Administration role checked off before you click on Next. The next window describes error reporting. You could choose to check those off before clicking Next. And in the dialog after, make sure you click on Install. You then have to wait for an installation and then watch for a system configuration check before finally finishing up by clicking Finish. So now that we have .NET Framework and Microsoft SQL installed, we can install OrthoVision Server by simply clicking on the button on the setup dialog. OrthoVision Server actually creates the patient database on your computer. It's a pretty standard installation process. There's terms of agreement to review and agree to, followed by a bunch of clicking on the next. I'll fast forward through the installation process. Once that's done, it'll create a database. After a brief moment, you'll see that the Install Shield wizard has been completed, and you can click on Finish. Finally, the OrthoVision client, which is the program itself that you'll be using, is installed by simply clicking on that button on the setup dialog and going through a standard installation process once again. Simply click Next, review the terms of agreement and accept them if they're to your liking. Click Next once again. This is a step that isn't so standard. You'll see that the setup dialog is asking if you want to link to EasyDent, which is an image importing program that's used with VodTech imaging machines. If you're not using a VodTech machine, you can simply click None and continue on with the installation. The rest of the installation process is pretty standard. You can choose where you want to install the program, click Next, and then click on Install to go through the installation process. You'll see a client installing message pop up, followed by a finished message, which you can click on there. Now that you've completed installing OrthoVision, you can click on the Exit button on the setup dialog and double-click on the OrthoVision icon that's on your desktop. You'll see a login prompt should open up. The default admin and password for any OrthoVision program is just admin, and there is no password, so you can actually leave that field blank and click on Login. After a brief moment of loading, you'll see that OrthoVision now pops up, and you can begin adding your first patient by simply having patient selected, followed by clicking on the Add button on the upper right. This concludes the OrthoVision installation video tutorial. If you have any additional questions, please refer to our installation guide found on our website listed in the About section below, or feel free to contact our customer support.